Oh ho ho! You're in for a good one. It's Summer Wars, it's animated, it's pixel art. Hey, hi, hello, greetings, welcome. Welcome to a good one. I'm gonna try and not hit the table, which causes little audio blips, because I seem to do that all the time. Hello, we're making some Summer Wars, sticking on the trend of just drawing things that I like. Be it drawing fan art of stuff that's me, that's about me and my interests, because that's what this channel is. It's all about me. An exercise in the ego, some would say. Some would say, can you hear that? That's the police coming to shut this shit down. Because it's so spicy. Do you know Summer Wars? It's a great film. I feel like maybe it's a bit of a cult classic. I feel like maybe people don't know it as much. I mean, definitely, I feel like it's not as popular or as well known as Studio Ghibli films. Sure, but by the same director of The Girl Who Leapt Through Time, I believe. Same studio, at least. It's great. It's awesome. It's rad. You should watch it right now. Imagine if the internet was sort of like this one app. So everyone had like an internet avatar and everything was run on this same program. You have your little avatar and it's linked to literally everything that you do online. So you like play games on it, or also you do like shopping, or like, I don't know, real stuff like banking stuff, and everything's connected, your electricity bills, and but also just like random stuff like gambling and online games and shit. And it's called Oz. This is pretty cool, and everyone has it. Everyone's got it on their phones, on their computer. What was I saying? It's really cool. And then but then basically like a virus is let loose in it, and because everything's connected, it has like huge repercussions around the world. And then it's just about like beating this virus at a game. It's so cool. So there's like this kid who's like a gamer. He's just this like quiet little emo kid in his room, and his avatar is this bunny called the King Kazma, and he is the number one fighting and games player in the world, and he's just this little kid, and it's really cool and cute, and the art's amazing and incredible, and I love it. It's such a good like feel good film. But it just has incredible art and such an awesome design. Everything feels so summery and bright, even when they're like inside the game, like, or the internet stuff. Everything's so clean and white and crisp, and it all looks so cool, so nice. I was trying to work out a way to do some fan art, and I just thought, you know what? I think it's got to be pixel art, because it's like the internet, and this sort of just composition just sort of came to me. There's like a weird, everything's so weird and kind of strange inside, like all the like the UI and the interface and like the architecture of the place is so like bizarre and trippy, and there's like loads of bright colors, but everything's got this like weird clean white aesthetic. In the middle of the place is this giant weird sculpture. It's just really cool. You should definitely check it out, definitely watch it. But yeah, I just had this idea of just having a kind of an image of King Kazma versus the virus, which is called Love Machine, which is quite funny. And yeah, just having like a standoff. And then on top of that, I was like, you know what? This lends itself to be animated. Like the fact that it's a very clean, white, plain background means that there's less to animate kind of. And just the whole like fighting game aesthetic that was going on in the foreground kind of lent itself for me just to sort of like do a little bit of animation. Also, what it's lent itself to, because it's some new animation that I've done, I am also going to try and do a little tutorial for you in another video, just about sort of like the process from going from a tiny little, because I feel like I've had a few in my past. I've done a tutorial before about like how I make my animation on Photoshop, but then I kind of skipped over the bit where it says how I go about like exporting and enlarging it and stuff. And I understand that like little speed bumps like that can get quite infuriating for people. So I get it. It's just not that interesting. So I'll keep it to a short video. I wish I had more. I guess, I feel like one aspect of me always complaining about what I'm doing is that I always got to remember, like, all these YouTube videos are like a piece of work. The other day I was sort of being hard on myself, saying, oh, how little I've done in my sketchbook recently. And I just feel like it's because I sort of forget about all the drawing that I'm doing for YouTube, like, and that sort of counts. That still counts. Like, just because it's not like my personal projects or it's not on a bit of paper. It still counts. And yeah, I was also sort of complaining about to myself about how I'm not posting that much animation. I guess, yeah, you can see a little bit of my process here. But I don't know. I've got ideas, but like, for example, like Louis Zong, right? I'm really inspired by Louis Zong, and he does these cute, quick, tiny little animations, and he's just so pro at it. And I always look at them and like, oh, I could do that. I could do that. I like Super Beard Bros, right? And I'm always like, oh, I could do a little 20-second thing. And then I get to doing it, and I instantly become super drained because I'm like, this is going to take, for it to look how I want it to look, it's going to take forever. So, mad respect to Louis Zong. He's great. Shout out to Louis. You're cool. But anyway, I don't know. I've stuff is on the way. I've still got video ideas. Doing another portrait in the works. I've got quite a few more ideas for like some pixel art stuff. I don't know. It's weird. I've been in a weird sort of place recently because one thing that's happened actually is I was at work. And then I saw I had an email from a company that seemed like pretty big, and like I was like, whoa, getting an email from them commissioning me, or just asking if I was interested to work with them on some sort of video thing, and I was like, oh my god, this is incredible. I was like, this is crazy, this is really cool. And then I saw the time scale and like how much work it was, and I was just like, that's impossible. I'm just not going to be able to. I haven't heard back from them either, because it was a couple of days ago that I got the email, and I only responded yesterday. I should just take it as a positive because it's like this huge company saw my pixel art. That's rad. It's no one like particularly super famous, but like the company itself has worked with like some big stuff. So I was like, oh my god, this is cool. But basically, like, the commission was to essentially do like 7 to 10 minutes of animation in like just over a month. And I was like, that's just not doable. I know how long things would take me, and I know that if I rushed it and made it crap, they're not gonna like pay me if I make it shit. So I was just thinking it over. I replied like, I'm willing to like compromise, but like this is how long it would take me, and like this is how much I'd charge. Yeah, it was like both super exciting and super stressful, because it's like, holy shit, big company, that's really cool, getting in contact with me, rad, but then like the turbulence of being like working out that I'm just incapable of doing it in the time frame, like. And then I tweeted out, like, I was like asking animation Twitter, like, yo, what's the deal? Because I feel like I've been thinking recently, being a freelance animator is just not like, that's just not sustainable. That's not a thing. That's why there are animation studios, because animation takes so long. Like, being commissioned to make like GIFs is different, but like producing an entire animation by yourself, it's just not feasible. But I mean, I have done it, but it all depends on like timescales and the budget. Like, it just takes so long to make animation. So, well, I feel like if you're like thinking about reaching out to people commissioning animations, just know that like it takes a long time. It takes a good long time. Like, just to give you a sort of benchmark, I would probably charge for this GIF, this looping GIF that I'm creating before your very eyes. I would at least probably charge my day rate, which is 250 quid. Just saying it. Here's a little tidbit. Here's a little, look, I'm sprinkling this little sort of Easter egg, this little useful bit of nugget of info. You know, I've seen it in some videos recently, like Frnerd and stuff. People talking about money. There's some cool people on Twitter. Sonny Ross is a cool illustrator. He's been really transparent with money at the moment. He's just like posting how much he gets paid for some of his editorial things. So here you go on my little bit of info. But in general, still in my head, my benchmark for like my work on a lot of different types of stuff that I do is it's 250 quid per day for me. You know, that might fluctuate. Like sometimes I charge more, sometimes I charge less, depending on the commission. But you know, that's like for 8 hours work, you know, 250 quid. I saw in Frnerd's a recent video from her. I don't know exactly when it was, but yeah, she was just like talking about this book and about like how you don't underprice, never underprice, but it was like a useful way of like working out how much to charge. And you know, the classic stuff of like, oh, you should, bare minimum is like 3 times the minimum wage, or especially for like up and comers, like people new into the world, or like they're just starting out. You know, it's some useful information in that video, but also at the same time, like everything's different. Animation is different from illustration, which is different to editorial work, and they each have their different, like, you know, hurdles to go through and hoops to jump. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but I would just sort of say that animation takes a long time. So like this GIF, just putting it out there into the ether that in general, like because I am considering sort of opening commissions for stuff like this officially. You know, because it's not really official yet. Officially offering these types of GIFs, animation GIFs, on as commissions, and I would probably say that I'm thinking like 250 quid, which is like $300, is kind of the benchmark that I'm like looking at. As well as this, like I'm also still thinking about prints, like that Printful shop. I'm gonna try and do it over the next like couple weeks, because just to sort of make myself better about the fact that I haven't heard that from that big company. But who knows, like, it's just rad that I'm on their radar. It was like a big company. Like, they had links, they had connections, and one of the, like, directors got in contact with me for my pixel art stuff. So I'm definitely gonna, you know, stay in contact with them, but also, you know, who knows? But it was just a bit sort of rocky and weird, like the commission that was originally sent to me. It was a bit like, wow, this isn't feasible. They wanted like 5 2-minute animations. That's a lot. Anyway, who knows what's going on? I hate talking about money. That's one thing that I just sort of want to get out there. The two worlds that I exist in is that I'm making art for me, myself. I'm living in the now. It's like you can't worry about these things, these future things, because you're going to realize that you're living miserably if you're constantly looking ahead and constantly worrying and being anxious about what the future holds. You're never going to enjoy the moment you're in. That is both true for art and also just life in general. So I always hate talking about money. I hate that. Maybe that's why I don't like talking about like the struggle, like the improvement struggle, because I don't know. I feel like you overlook stuff when you're focusing really hard on one thing. I don't know where this came from. I don't know where this ramble came from. But speaking of rad animations, I shared on my Twitter Hades by Supergiant, one of my biggest inspirations. Gen Z rad artist, concept artist, is coming to Switch, and they did a really cool trailer, and it's coming to Switch, and so is A Short Hike. I played the Short Hike on this channel and the audio was awful because my MacBook was like blaring and I just can't play games on PC. So I'm super glad that it's coming to Switch. It's just adorable little like pixel art exploring game. I gotta go now. My dinner's ready. We're having tacos. How American is that? Just look out for the tutorial for like some animation and stuff. I really appreciate you being here. Go watch Summer Wars if you haven't seen it. It's incredibly rad, incredibly cool. I love it. One of my favorite movies. Definitely one of my favorite animated films. And yeah, I'm alright. I'm doing okay. I'm doing stuff. I'm working hard. I'm sure you are too. Thanks for taking some time out to watch me and my stuff, and for subscribing and joining this little weird arty community. I'm really grateful. I hope you like this drawing. Yeah, more to come. Always, constantly on that grind. Never resting, never sleeping. Always on the grind. I just need some sleep. That's all. I should go now. Thanks for watching. Doop.